not least, saving the best for last. Our beloved MEAC. Yes, we still love the MEAC, even though A&T bailed on them way back when. But anywho, we still love our Aggies though, but we love our MEAC. The conference tournament, the MEAC tournament is taking place in Norfolk, Virginia at the Scope. And oddly enough, I used to go to a church convention there when I was a kid. So memories. But anyway.
The Scope is the home of one of the greatest moments in wrestling history with the attempt of invasion with the DX of WCW, for those that remember, who are big wrestling fans. Yeah.
Nice. How about that? That's a little known fact there.
I had to let my wrestling nerddom go for a minute. Every time I go to Norfolk for a MEAC sponsored event, I always have to go by the Scope. A little bit of that comes out in me when I go past the Scope, but yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, for the women's side of things, Norfolk State is 11-2 right now. 23-5 overall record. That's that'll work. And they're followed by Morgan State and Howard are tied at 9-4 respectively currently. So basically, right now, because like they have, I think the last game is going to be at Howard. Tomorrow. That's the last game. So
I'm gonna see if I'm not tired. See if I can make my way there for that game tomorrow.
Okay, cool. So basically, pretty much Norfolk State pretty much won the regular season title. So given that it's kind of like the tournament's going to kind of be like a home site for Norfolk State. Who do you think has the capable of throwing a monkey wrench, if you will, into Norfolk State's plans in the conference tournament?
The only team that got a chance to, one of the few teams that beat them this season, that's the number 2 seed, Morgan State, has an opportunity to do so. God, the way that they handled Howard during the regular season, it's a little problematic for me. Let me see, who else was it that gave them a L, because they're 11-2 during the season. I don't see. Oh, Central was the team that beat them at the crib. So if they're able, again, if things stay the way that they do, and somehow Howard is if things stay the way that they do, and they're able to beat Howard in DC tomorrow, they most definitely they'll keep the number 1 seed regardless, but they'll just hold Howard at the number 3 seed, with the chance of facing Central in the semifinals. If that happens, Central is another one of the teams that actually beat Norfolk in during the regular season
at home.
I don't know if they do
too.
And it'll be interesting to see whether or not they're capable of doing so again. But that Howard team, we'll see how Howard looks against Norfolk tomorrow. If they play well, unlike they did down in Norfolk during the regular season, but if they play well tomorrow, maybe they can carry that into the tournament with an opportunity of having some sort of hopes of upsetting them in the tournament. But as of right now, I'm leaning towards Morgan, who actually gave them a lost number 2 seed, the potential number 2 seed, if they don't lose, and if Morgan loses and Howard wins tomorrow, then Howard moves up to the number 2 seed. But either way, it's just jockeying between seedings between 2 and 3 between Howard and Morgan. But yeah, Morgan will probably be that team that I see that could be the biggest threat towards Norfolk during the tournament.
Now, Norfolk State. Looking at their schedule, looking at their run. If for some reason something goes wrong in the conference tournament, especially if they make it to the semifinal round of the conference tournament, you would think, looking at their record, looking at who they beat out of conference, they won at Appalachian State, they won at College of Charleston, they beat Marshall, beat Campbell. They won. I mean, I'm sorry. They beat Tennessee Martin. But basically, one would think they lost them at Penn State by just 6 points. One would think. Oh, and they beat William and Mary and they beat UNC Wilmington. So one would think that they would be deserving of an at-large spot in case something went wrong in the conference tournament. Am I speaking out of turn here? Am I barking up the wrong tree with this?
Yeah. As good as their OOC is,
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if they somehow make their way to the NIT because
Okay.
of how they see the entire conference. It would be nice if they were able to earn an at-large bid, but I wouldn't hold my breath. If anything, take care of business. You earn your automatic seat into the tournament.
Correct.
Don't lean on, well, we had a 20-win season. And we played well against these teams out of conference. We should make it. Don't even think about that. Go in and win your games, and you won't have to worry about that.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. Last but not least, the men's side of our beloved MEAC. Speaking of Howard, you mentioned Howard earlier. Howard's men leading the conference right now at 10-3, but one more game left to play. They're ahead of Norfolk State and Central by one game. They're 18-12 overall. Norfolk State is 20-9. They're the only 20 game winner in the conference. So this may be a case of the big three, right? A triumph.
Yeah.
Howard, Norfolk State, and North Carolina Central. So who do you think will come out of that as a winner in the conference tournament between those three?
First and foremost, round of applause. Kenny Blakeney and that coaching staff over at Howard. When they recruited McCormaker, there was talks that this team would end up eventually becoming good with Maker there.
Okay.
Maker ain't been there for 2 years now. And yet somehow, some way, with the talent that Blakeney was able to recruit to come here to play in Georgia Avenue, Howard University has won at least a share of the regular season title for the first time in 31 years. A win tomorrow night, which is basically the brawl for it all in my eyes, between them and Norfolk State at the Burr, will solidify who the regular season champion will be outright. Will Howard be the outright champion, or will they share? Will there be a co-championships with Norfolk heading into the tournament? To answer your question, I truly believe that those three programs most definitely can be are legitimate enough to win the tournament. You know, we've seen what Moulton has been able to do with North Carolina Central over the past 7 to 8 years. Same thing in the same time frame with Robert Jones and North Carolina Central. The in my eyes, even though they're coming in as a potential 1 seed, this is the team that hasn't done it in a long time, and that's Howard. I will be intrigued to see how they handle their first game within the tournament. However, how they play that game to me will kind of be like a precursor of how they handle the rest of the tournament. Because I think they need to get that those jitters out of off them coming to that tournament as a potential number 1 seed. If they're able to do that, they should be able to move on to the semis and face the potential winner of North Carolina Central. Actually, no, that would be a finals matchup, wouldn't it? So yeah, that semis matchup would be them. And no, I'm sorry, I completely forgot about Morgan State. We sat here and completely ignored Morgan State. No, I'm sorry, no, it's the women's. But yeah, to your point with again, Norfolk and Central being the 2 and the 3 seed. I'm trying to see who's that 4 seed. Who would that 4 seed potentially be? In the MEAC for the men. That would be it's Eastern Shore. I completely forgot about
Eastern Shore. Yeah, that 8-5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if Eastern Shore has Delaware State, they should be able to get a win over Delaware State. Central has South Carolina State, another easy win against those two teams that they should be able to get wins over. So yeah, if with Howard potentially getting over South Carolina State in the first round, which they should be able to do in a cakewalk, that Eastern Shore matchup will be big to see how they get through that. And then they'll end up getting the winner of the Central Norfolk State matchup if things stay the same.